Let's say RDC versus AMP. I mean, RDC is a lot more subdued, but here's the thing with RDC. The difference between RDC and AMP. This is an interesting conversation from an outside perspective, because I don't know. You also know this is a good investment because all the followers and subs he's going to get from this. No, listen, sometimes the juice is worth the squeeze. Here's the difference between RDC and AMP, I think. AMP is a group, right? It's a group of people that came together, but for the most part, they have established brands outside of this group. Kai has his thing. Phantom has his thing. Agent has multiple things, right? Chris has his thing, right? Chris, right? Duke has his thing. So they're very well established. So if AMP implodes and they go their own way, I would say for the most part, they're okay, right? The only person that just generally you would think, I don't know if he'd be as okay is maybe Davis. But I don't know Davis outside of the group for the most part. Everybody else, I've seen other things outside of the group. And that's all I'm saying, right? That's all I'm saying. For RDC, right? For RDC, and again, this is from the outside looking in. There ain't no Chris in there? There's no Chris? Who's the nigga? Who's the nigga that be rapping? His name ain't Chris? What's his name? Chris, yeah. His name Chris, ain't it? Come on, bro. Stop playing. For RDC, the difference, right? The difference, I think, between RDC and AMP is RDC seems to be very dependent or heavily dependent on Mark, where Mark is like the driving force of that group. And it seems like everybody's invested in growing that group. On YouTube, on Twitch, on TikTok, they move as a group. I've seen like Twitter and all this different stuff for like most of the members. I've seen Dylan's Twitter, I've seen Neiman's Twitter, I've seen Ben's Twitter, right? For the most part, all the skits are centered around Mark, right? Cash Money Mark. He's the one, Desmond, right? Desmond. Mark seems to be the driving force behind it. I call this nigga Neiman. Leland? My fault, G. So that's the thing, right? So that's the difference. AMP and RDC as a group, two amazing groups, right? But I think AMP, if they separated, the individuals would be okay, right? If RDC separated, I think Leland would be good. I think Desmond would be good. I think they'd be good, not great. But I don't see enough from them outside of the group, right? So that's the tough part. That's the tough part for RDC because of how they came together and how they do it. They're individuals, right? They're individuals. So I'm sure each can become a Twitch streamer. I don't know. I'm sure, bro. They're all talented. I don't want to take away from anything that they do. They're all talented. But I'm sure it's in the back of your mind. Like, I want to establish something outside of Mark. But you know, because what if one day, right? What if one day this nigga Mark just says, like Omarion, this nigga says, man, I wanna go do my own thing. I want to get into acting, like legitimately acting. I look at Corey Kenshin, he's about to be in a movie. I saw him in a trailer of a movie. Or if Mark is like, man, I'm about to, we probably gonna do less group stuff and do more individual stuff, right? On some Beyonce shit or Marion. Not saying he would ever do that, because it seemed like they locked in, right? What if you decided to do that? Is everybody at a place where like, all right, cool, we can figure it out? For AMP, that's the difference there. AMP, that's the difference. Individually, they're great. They're great. But this is from an outside perspective looking in. These niggas could have multiple investments in Texas, right? They got multiple streams of income, whereas like each of them own a house and they got rent coming in from each. I don't know. That's possible. I don't know what these, you know what I'm saying? But still something that from the outside looking in, I would like to see RDC, because honestly, let's be honest here. Let's be honest. Individuals in RDC building themselves up on different platforms, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, whatever. Them doing that is just going to add to the group. It's not going to take away from the group if they're locked in. The more popular they get individually, the more popular the group gets. You know what I'm saying? So that's something I would like to see personally. I mean, obviously we love RDC, but I would like to see each of them grow. But they have different roles that we don't like. I'm not privy to, at least. They said they literally have DreamCon. What does AMP bring other than recklessness? Hey man, this version of the internet loves that shit. RDC is miles better though. As a group, I enjoy RDC more. I would say this, I would like RDC to branch out a bit more from Mark being somewhat the center of it. They have different moments where the others shine, but I think in regards to formula, I would like to see them break away from that and like give other people a bit more to work with, because sometimes you could fall into a formula and sometimes it'd be like a bit formulaic, and like sometimes you see the jokes coming. I love RDC, man. They said I think Mark is the only one with main character energy. I think sometimes I see that from Ben, sometimes I see that from Leland, sometimes I see that from Desmond. They all have range. We just got to see it. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the skits where Desmond or Leland is the focus in some way or have a bigger role, I like it. Like, it's kind of like you already expect Mark to be fantastic on every skit. So I like when the others step out of that, step out of their normal role. Like we like when Desmond is the antagonist. And then I've seen some of their clips, the streams, their clips and all that different shit. I see that Dylan and Mark got this pseudo gay relationship fake thing going on that Dylan plays up that Mark always tries to downplay, right? Obviously it's like a I don't know, obviously, but it seems like an act. But that's funny to me. Like every time I hear Dylan, I'm like, where's this from? He definitely evolved. Like I said, people come into their own over time. Like something I say about the internet. Here's something I say about the internet. Everybody that starts on the internet, you start as a version of something you've seen, right? You start as a version of something you've seen. You can even say athletes or entertainers are the same way. You start a certain way, a lot more subdued, and then over time you grow into who you are, right? How you speak, how you carry yourself, your hairstyles, but you start as a version of something you've seen, then you evolve into who you really are. When you first get on the internet, you're not sure how you're going to be received, right? So it's more comfort in going off of what you've seen and being in that pocket for a while, right? You're in that pocket for a while. Eventually, you get to a place where you're more comfortable revealing more of yourself. Like, not saying everybody's that way, but most people are that way. Godcast said, I don't agree. I've always been like this. Shut up, nigga. I've always been Batman. You always, bro. That's not, oh my God. Here's the thing. Godcast to say, be you always. What does that mean? Say you're starting One Piece content today. If somebody's starting One Piece content today, they're going to pull things from what they've seen successful One Piece content creators do. It's just inevitable because that's what you've seen. It's something that you're following. If somebody start making skits today, right? They probably copy Caleb City. They probably copy RDC, right? They probably copy Long Beach Griffey. They'd probably be more in the vein of, okay, I've seen these guys be successful. I'm going to start there and evolve my content. It's just, that's just typically how it goes. To be yourself, don't put on some facade. I don't think it's not necessarily a facade. You're influenced by these people and it's not that easy to find your way, right? It's not that easy to find your way. Right? You start at a certain place, but that's part of evolution. For me, when I first started, I'm like, I saw Finevero do something. I saw Sawyer 7 Maze do something. I saw King of Lightning do a certain way. I saw Double Four do a certain way, right? Code Provider, I saw him do a certain way. People that don't get as much credit that was streaming back then. Firefish Dre, right? Saw him do it a certain way. I saw my boy Fire Angel Chris, right? Unexpected Wonder. I saw them doing things a certain way. But then I try to stream in my way, right? And then eventually, I never really watched Uber Hikari. I was never really Uber Hikari guy. When I started watching content on YouTube, he was already kind of like not as much. And then I didn't catch a J-Room stream. Until later down. The person I would say I watched their content the most in regards to minutes watched back then was Cole. Because for a lot of people, if you wasn't watching Cole back then,